Okay, so a couple of games or a couple of ideas which I would personally use to practice vocabulary. I must admit they're quite standard. So again, this kind of practice can be to describe some picture, yeah, which is discussion. They describe something, they describe a picture, they describe some video or maybe some audio if it's possible or relevant. Or, for example, they play some games, yeah, they pretend some situations and they discuss it over again. So basically, yeah, discussions or games. We can discuss pictures, videos, or some statements, of course. Yeah, so talking, okay, about statements I will tell you a little later, but for example, this is for elementary or beginners communication games. For example, if you have learned the family members with your beginner or with your elementary students, yeah, it's very nice to play this kind of game. For example, your students, it's very interesting. You actually cut it out into pieces. Yeah, and you have to name bride's family, groom's family on their mutual photo. So your students do that in pairs or in small groups, and this way they practice using relatives. After that, you check it again. So what's very important that you check, practice, you monitor, you control your students all the time, because they have to use it relevantly and correctly. In case some of your students, one student in the group, two students, are have higher levels of that, or you see that they know this particular topic well, or they just have caught everything you have said quicker than the others, they can also be your assistant, that is, assistant teachers, and monitor and control their colleagues, helping you this way, and this will increase the effectiveness of the vocabulary learning, like a little of teamwork and so on. But also this can help to solve the problem of multi-level groups, because even in a group of one level, some people are stronger and some other are weaker. Yet in some groups this difference is quite slight, yeah, so they can be teachers like one by one, and while in other groups this difference can be quite big, and it can be very, very difficult for students, because one hasn't got yet and another have already got everything and is ready to move forward. So in this case, the faster one is usually more than happy to be a teacher, the mentor for the slower one, because it gives him the feeling of the confidence, of power in English, which is very, very positive attitude and high self-esteem, yeah, can be really, really high, can be a good thing to do. Also, to make this how you perform this practice stage. So at first everything starts with a word. Yes, so at first you understand, let each student understands the words correctly, and then they really remembered the translations or the meanings of the keywords at least. For example, it's quite easy to do with some material things, again, which can be described on the pictures, and your students can be working in pairs or small groups, or like maybe one student playing the role of a teacher to all the other members of group. So you just revise the understanding of each word. So you show the picture, they have to name it. In case the words are more complicated, you can say the Russian variant. It's okay to say Russian variant, and they have to quickly translate it. This way you will fixate the meaning of the words. Then they can use it in sentences. Of course, sentences can be quite easy at the beginning, and then like in paragraphs, so in text, yeah, within some, we can say okay, I will say text, but what I mean by text, not necessarily text like an article, yeah, text like a dialogue or like a monologue. So they can use that in the you know, in the carpet of their language, yeah, in the flow, it's better to say, in the flow of their language. So all the practice always goes this way. And by the way, the practice of grammar also goes this way. I mean, if you have learned, if you have taught your students some grammatical construction, for example, okay, past perfect, yeah, I had done something, or for example, construction, I should have done something. So at first, you just may ask your students for a couple of times repeat this construction. Just repeat it. I should have done it. I should have written. I should have sent. I should have made. I should have, just even without sentence. Yeah, just a phrase. Yeah, so it can be a word or a phrase, of course, if you are teaching phrases. Then you ask your students to make simple sentences, then more difficult sentences, and then slowly you help them to start using this in some context. Yeah, context, I would say. Context, this is the good word. So for example, here they make sentences, you know, oh, you know, yesterday I should have attended a gym, or the gym. And then, for example, the next step, you talk about sport in general. You ask your student, or he or she tells the story. How often, you know, what do you think of sports? Are you good at it? How often do you go to gym? How long have you been going to gym, maybe, yeah? Like, did you go there yesterday? Like, no, I didn't, but I should have done it. So again, as we discussed in the last training, you create the framework for your students, but they have to use this construction in the final step by their own. They have to feel the moment to use it and use it actually. Here happened the same. Yeah, at first you make sure that they understand the words, and they and you just ask them maybe to repeat these words somehow through cards. Or for example, if you are discussing clothes, so you take one item of clothes, for example, the dress, and you ask to give as many characteristics from the list given of this dress as possible. So it's like leisure, yeah, short rolled up sleeves, zipper, artificial leisure, or lacquer leisure, we can say it's black, and so on, so on. Stylish, trendy, up and coming model, and so on, so on. Also, a very nice way to practice something after they have fixed the word. Yeah, they need to learn to build a sentence. In this way, there are also some different kind of activities. Yeah, even